Unsolved, a Nancy Drew production. Tonight's episode, Arthur Leigh Allen.
Arthur Leigh Allen's father was Ethan Allen, born in 1903, and he served in the United States Navy prior to World War II and during World War II. And he married Beatrice Hanson in 1931, and they had 3 children. Arthur was born first, and then twins, Donald and Ronald, who were born in 1939. Donald Allen died on the day that he was born. Arthur Leigh Allen grew up in this house at 32 Fresno Street in Vallejo, and he moved out to attend college and at different times, but he lived at this house the majority of his life, and he was here during the late 1960s and early 1970s. And here's a map of Vallejo, and the red arrow points to the 32 Fresno Street address. The green arrow points to Vallejo High School. The yellow arrow points to Hogan High School. And the blue arrows point to the crime scenes. And then the white arrow at top is pointing to Napa and Lake Berryessa. Arthur graduated from Vallejo High School and attended Vallejo Junior College in the early 1950s. And here you can see that Arthur Leigh Allen lived at 32 Fresno, and he was employed at the Navy Yard, according to this city directory. He enlisted in the United States Navy in either 1956 or 1957, and he was discharged in December of 1958. Arthur attended Cal Poly University in the late 1950s, and I believe he earned his college degree in 1960. Mr. Allen found himself a teaching job at elementary school in Atascadero, California, and he taught here for 3 years. In 1963, he found himself a job closer to home, closer to Vallejo, California, and he was working at Travis Elementary School at Travis Air Force Base. After completing his first year, during the summer, he got into some kind of accident and injured himself, and he didn't return the following year to the school. Nevertheless, he earned his teaching credential on June 20th, 1964, which was good for 5 years, or it should have been good for 5 years. In 1966, Mr. Allen landed himself a teaching position at Valley Springs Elementary School in the Western Sierra Mountains of California, and he worked there for 2 years, or almost 2 years. This newspaper article is from 1973, and you can see it says man arrested as molester. Well, in May of 1968, there were some accusations made about Mr. Allen, the teacher, and the district investigated, and he was forced to leave. In November of 1966, Riverside police were investigating the murder of Cheri Jo Bates, and they were looking for a heavy-set man with a beard and brown hair. Arthur Leigh Allen did have brown hair, and he did weigh 250 pounds, but he was hundreds of miles north of Riverside. And the heel prints left at the crime scene were of Air Force personnel, and the wristwatch was a Timex, and the mailed confession letter was sent on November 29th. Now, his footprints were of the same size, and his mom did buy him a new Zodiac watch the following year, and he did own a typewriter, and he did have friends a half hour away from the murder site, and he was off from school on November 1st, 1966. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and the next weekend we'll have another video about Jonbenet, and we will follow up on this suspect, Arthur Leigh Allen. So I'll see you the next time.